Speaking from 21 South Street. I love reading to Ruskin Bond stories. And what about you? Prem's boys are growing tall and healthy, on the verge of manhood. How can I think of growing old when faced with the full vigor and confidence of youth? They remind me of Somi and Ranbir, who were the same age when I knew them in Dehra during my teenage years. But remembering Somi and Ranbir reminds me of death. For Ranbir had died a young man, and I look at Prem's boys again, haunted by the thought of suddenly leaving this world, and pray that I can be with them a little longer. Somi and Ranbir, I remember, it was going to rain. I could see the rain moving across the hills and I could smell it on the breeze. But instead of turning back, I walked on through the leaves and brambles that grew over the disused path and wandered into the forest. I had heard the sound of rushing water at the bottom of the hill, and there was no question of returning until I had found the water. I had to slide down some smooth rocks into a small ravine, and there I found the stream running across a bed of shingle. I removed my shoes and socks and started walking up the stream. Water trickled down the hillside from amongst ferns and grass and wildflowers, and the hills, rising steeply on either side, kept the ravine in shadow. The rocks were smooth and almost soft, and some of them were very grey and some yellow. The pool was fed by a small waterfall, and it was deep beneath the waterfall. I did not stay long because now the rain was swishing over the sal trees and I was impatient to tell the others about the pool. Somi usually chose the adventures we were to have, and I would just grumble and get involved in them. But this pool was my own discovery, and both Somi and Ranbir gave me credit for it. We decided to call it Rusty's Pool. I think it was the pool that brought us together more than anything else. We made it a secret, private pool and invited no others except for Kishan, the boy I tutored to earn my living when I was forced to leave my guardian, Mr. Harrison's house. Ranbir was the best swimmer. He dived off rocks and went gliding about under the water like a long golden fish. Somi threshed about with much vigor but little skill. I could dive off a rock too, but I usually landed on my belly. There were slim silverfish in the waters of the stream. At first, we tried catching them with a line, but they usually took the bait and left the hook. Then we brought a bed sheet and stretched it across one end of the stream, but the fish wouldn't come near it. Eventually, Ranbir, without telling us, brought along a stick of dynamite, and Somi, Kishan and I were startled out of a siesta by a flash across the water and a deafening explosion. Half the hillside had tumbled into the pool, and Ranbir along with it, but we got him out, as well as a good supply of stunned fish which were too small for eating. The effects of the explosion gave Somi another idea, and that was to enlarge our pool by building a dam across one end. This we accomplished with our joint labor, but one afternoon when it rained heavily, a torrent of water came rushing down the stream, bursting the dam and flooding the ravine. Our clothes were all carried away by the current, and we had to wait for night to fall before creeping home through the darkest alleyways, for we used to bathe quite naked, and it would have been unmanly to do otherwise. Our activities at the pool included wrestling and buffalo riding. We wrestled on a strip of land that ran beside the stream and rode on a couple of buffaloes that sometimes came to drink and wallow in the more muddy parts of the stream. We would sit astride the buffaloes and kick and yell and urge them forward. But on no occasion did we ever get them to move. At the most, they would roll over on their backs, taking us with them into a pool of slush. But the buffaloes were always comfortable to watch. Solid, earthbound creatures, they liked warm days and cool, soft mud. There is nothing so satisfying to watch as buffaloes wallowing in the mud or ruminating over a mouthful of grass, absolutely oblivious to everything else. They watched us with sleepy, indifferent eyes and tolerated the pecking of crows. Did they think all the time? Or did they just enjoy the sensuousness of soft, wet mud while we perspired under a summer sun? No. Thinking would have been too strenuous for those supine creatures. To get neck deep in water was their only aim in life. It didn't matter how muddy we got ourselves because we had only to dive into the pool to get rid of the muck. In fact, mud fighting was one of our favorite pastimes. It was like playing with snowballs, only we used mud balls. If it was possible for Somi, Ranbir and Kishan and me to get out of our homes undetected at night, we would come to the pool and bathe by the moonlight. And at these times, we would bathe silently and seriously because there was something subduing about the stillness of the jungle at night. I don't exactly remember how we broke up, but we hardly noticed it at that time. That was because we never really believed we were finally parting or that we would not be seeing the pool again. After about 3 years, Somi finished his schooling and he and his family left for Calcutta. The last time I heard from him, many years ago, he was working in a pharmacy in Calcutta. He remembered the pool in a sentimental way, but not as I remembered it. Before Somi, Ranbir had left town, and I did not see him again until after I returned from England. Then he was in Air Force uniform, tall, slim, very handsome, completely unrecognizable as the chubby boy who had played with me in the pool. 3 weeks after this meeting, I heard that he had been killed in an air crash. Sweet Ranbir, I feel you are close to me now. And what of the pool? I looked for it after an interval of more than 30 years, but couldn't find it. I found the ravine and the bed of shingle, but there was no water. The stream had changed its course, just as we had changed ours. I turned away in disappointment and with a dull ache in my heart. It was cruel of the pool to disappear. It was the cruelty of time. But I hadn't gone far when I heard the sound of rushing water and the shouting of children, and pushing my way through the jungle, I found another stream and another pool and about half a dozen children splashing about in the water. They did not see me, and I kept in the shadow of the trees and watched them play, but I didn't really see them. I was seeing Somi and Ranbir and the lazy old buffaloes, and I stood there for almost an hour, a disembodied spirit romping again in the shallows of a secret pool. Nothing had really changed. Time is like that. You were listening to As Time Goes by Ruskin Bond from The Adventures of Rusty. We will come back with another story another day. Till then, don't forget the address. It's 21 South Street. Goodbye.